KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning. God bless. Happy Monday. What a Monday already. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First. And my very first thing every day is prayer. And then prayer again. And then prayer some more. And then we go. Let's get it started. Man, you got a lot of prayer today. It is a mindful Monday. So the way we do things around here, technical difficulty or none, the way we do things around here, hour one, we look local. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive. Now, hour two typically starts with Sahara Ali in our Mindful Monday segment. So we get our heads together, right? Get ourselves present and intentional for the week that will be, the week we would like to manifest, so to speak. We do that in the top of the second hour. A guided meditation, an affirmation, a little astrological outlook with Sahara Ali, who is a meditation instructor, a yoga teacher, a sound bath specialist, a life coach, and more. And today is Black Marriage Monday. You know, we kind of got on a different little schedule because we wanted to get the Gen Z perspective for Messy Monday, and we had to do that before the Gen Z folks went back to school, back to college. And so we're doing our Black Marriage Monday today, and we'll be talking with Dr. James Smith. He's a communications specialist. So it doesn't just apply to marriage. It can apply to your situationship, relationship, even your breakup. Who knows? Maybe your job. But it is Black Marriage Monday. So we're going to focus on those long-term committed style relationships like the one James Farr is in. James Farr is with me this morning. He's the host of The Conversation Live on the weekends here, Saturday mornings to be exact. Altadena Forward, and he is also a writer for the LA Progressive. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Dominique. How are you?
Well, you know, we're here, and
we're here.
Yes, and we're overcoming adversity to do what we do. So that's a blessing. I'm blessed. How are you?
You know what? I'm here. I'm in the fight. I'm swinging. Is it Mercury retrograde? What's going on?
I don't know. We'll have to ask Sahara when she gets on. Be honest
Please.
with you, because it sure feels like it. Me and my girlfriend went all the way to Anaheim last night to see Daniel Caesar. Okay.
Oh, Anaheim.
Right,
okay.
At the pond. Well, whatever. Is that the name of the place? The Honda Center, where where they play hockey, right? And the StubHub people sent us a message. Good news, you've been upgraded, which I've never heard of before with a concert. That's usually airline tickets, right? Turns out they were lying because they took us from the really nice seats that we purchased. They said, now you're down in the pit, right? I didn't realize that Daniel Caesar has so many 12-year-old fans. What does that say about me and my emotional maturity? I didn't know. You know, I just like, oh, I love me some Daniel Caesar. I get there and everyone else is 12.
Well, then all that aside, Dominic, as you are in there chronologically more mature than anyone in the building, perhaps, what was the best part of it, right? Isn't that one of his hit songs?
No, I didn't get to the punchline yet. We get another text from them. We've been sorry. You've been put in general admission, which they won't tell us what it is. And basically, what it ended up, we didn't get to go to the show because basically, I guess they oversold it. I don't know what they did, but they took away our tickets. And so we had the option of going in there with a huge crowd of 12-year-olds and not knowing where we were going to be and getting charged the really big price that we paid for great tickets, or going home and hoping for one day getting a refund. It was such a bummer. We drove all the way back. Didn't see any Daniel Caesar, actually. Not one song. We saw a lot of 12-year-olds milling around, though. Have you ever heard of that, where they just take away your ticket and then they send us all these texts? We're sorry. We understand that you bought these tickets and we're giving you these other crappy tickets, but sometimes this happens and we do our best and blah, blah, blah. I never heard of that. Have you heard of that?
Well, I've seen people get upgraded. I don't.
But when it was really a downgrade, and then eventually you're in general admission, whatever that means, and then they stopped texting us back. I feel like I was lost in a scam somewhere.
I'm sympathetic. I feel bad
No, you're
for
laughing.
you and your friend.
Okay, I got you. We drove all the way to Anaheim for no reason. So something is happening.
You deserve a consolation prize.
Doggone it, Daniel Caesar, call me. Call me, Daniel Caesar, call me. Surely you wanted 2 seasoned black women at your show, along with all the 12-year-olds. All right. Yeah, James Farr is here. We do have a lot to talk about. I'm sorry. I'm still really sad. And also I'm questioning myself because he's one of my favorite artists right now. And I'm thinking, does that mean I have the emotional maturity of a 12-year-old? I'm just wondering. All right. We'll get to it. We got a lot. We have a lot on the list, right, James? Got news, traffic, and sports, and more on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. 5 Americans are among 7 people killed in a helicopter crash during a safari trip in Kenya. NBC aviation analyst John Cox.
The investigators are going to look at the debris field and anything they can learn from that.
Officials say the aircraft went down in a remote area north of Nairobi. A black woman accused of kidnapping 2 young sisters in Atlanta is now facing more scrutiny after authorities revealed she was previously charged in the kidnapping of a newborn in Alabama. Police say the children were found safe, and 42-year-old Lakeisha Brown now faces multiple kidnapping and child cruelty charges. And black Florida State Representative Angie Nixon is picking up support from Senator Bernie Sanders after her upset Democratic Senate primary victory. Sanders praised Nixon's grassroots campaign while Nixon thanked the Vermont senator and said she's proud to continue fighting for working families. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers have won 6 straight after sweeping Pittsburgh Sunday. 4 Dodgers pitchers combined to allow the Pirates only 2 hits and a 4-0 win. The Dodgers won their 80th game of the season. They are 1 game behind Milwaukee for the best record in Major League Baseball. The Dodgers are now 15-13 since hanging out with Trump at the White House on July 23rd. Things are beginning to look up for the Dodgers with 31 games left in the regular season. We are 16 days away from the start of the NFL regular season on Wednesday, September 9th. First time in NFL history, the league is playing its regular season opener on a Wednesday. New England is at Seattle to take on the defending Super Bowl champs. The Rams and San Francisco kick off their regular season on Friday, September 11th in Melbourne, Australia. First NFL regular season game down under. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley.
Culture in my lifetime has been as impactful, if not more impactful, than politics or law or any other pursuit or business. I like to say culture is undefeated.
Culture is undefeated. That's what Council President Marquise Harris Dawson says, and you know what? He's right. Culture is undefeated. But here's the problem. You don't get to celebrate the culture while ignoring the people who created it. And that's where this procrastination Crenshaw conversation gets real. As you know, the community sent a formal letter to Harris Dawson. We're still waiting for an official response from the city. The deadline is Friday, September 4th. But in the interim, Harris Dawson penned an open letter to the community. Okay, that's fine, but responding is not the same as answering. That said, let's not confuse fixing the parking, repairing the streetlights, and repaving streets and sidewalks with finishing Destination Crenshaw. The community was promised a transformational project. So, where is it? When is this thing going to be finished? The council president says the project is being delivered on a timeline. What timeline? That's not an unreasonable question, and that's not an attack. It's not division. That is accountability. And then there's the business interruption money. So in his letter, Harris Dawson says that more than $1 million went to Doolin's on Crenshaw, and additional assistance went to a few other individuals. Oh, really? Who received the money? How much money? And who didn't? I can assure you a whole lot of folk didn't get that money. How do I know? I'm getting the phone calls. You see, transparency should not scare anybody. That's how accountability works, and that's why in our letter, we ask for an audit. But instead, what do we get? A discussion about Tavis Smiley. the pastor, the parishioners, the business owners, the people asking the questions, their motives, their ambitions, their character. Well, let me tell you something. When you can't answer the questions, attacking, insulting, and gaslighting the persons asking the questions doesn't make the questions disappear. It just makes people ask why you won't answer it. Let me be clear. We don't want to fight with the council president. We want the project finished because the people of Crenshaw are not on the sidelines, Mr. President. They are Crenshaw. And if culture really is undefeated, then respect the culture, respect the people, respect the businesses, and most importantly, respect the questions. Now, answer them. The Crenshaw Corridor community is still waiting, and September 4th is fast approaching. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Just talking louder. Just say nothing. And say nothing.
What's good, KBLA delegation? I am Miles Lowe, and I'm excited to be joining the weekend lineup right here on KBLA Talk 1580. Join me every Saturday at 12 noon for the Do Better Show, where we get into the world of tech, AI, the creator economy, navigating your mental health through it all, and have conversations with founders to find out how real people are making real money right now. It's not a course, not a subscription. Class is in session every weekend, live on the air. So if you knew better, you do better, right? So let's make a better you. The Do Better Show, every Saturday, 12 noon, and replaying again at 7 p.m. right here on Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We got a lot to talk.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, we do appreciate you. Miles, I didn't know. Next time you got to tell me. Miles be on top of stuff. Okay, why am I hearing that? Oh, that's me. Sorry. It's like that today. It was like that yesterday, but we're here and we're good. So James, what's going on over there in Paso Alto? I saw this breakdown in the LA Times this weekend talking about their top takeaways from the new investigation, the new reports on the Altadena fire, Altadena Eaton Canyon fire. And I guess, you cover this week in, week out. But to me, for the LA Times to basically put Southern California Edison on blast like that, making it sound like they were negligent, that they were covering things up, and that they were incompetent, I found that should be pretty dire for Southern California Edison. First KBLA, now here comes the LA Times.
Yeah, well, I am not surprised in what the LA Times reported because it's just the facts, right? I mean, and we hope that they remain fact and evidence based. I've also reported, as you know, on this extensively in KBLA and Black Press USA, LA Progressive, and the like. But the key takeaways is that Altadena, this fire happened in 12 seconds, Dominique. What was fully known, and we've known this since early last year, immediately following the fire, that this utility pole, which had been decommissioned, arced, started a fire under brush that they did not maintain. They had wind advisories, National Weather Service advisories, all of these forewarnings that something catastrophic could happen. And what ended up happening is we ended up with a hurricane without rain. 80-mile-an-hour winds, 70-foot tall walls of fire came barreling down on this community. It's what we've always known. There have been 12 independent point of views, independent videos that have surfaced. There was never a question. And up until very recently, Edison has been in court saying that, well, we don't know what started it. Now they're kind of looking at, well, possibly it's us. But the fact is, I had Attorney Doug Boxer on Saturday, and he's saying affirmatively that Edison could have settled this matter 45 days after the event. There's so many different things that Edison could have done to help displaced and burned out families. They chose not to, while it simultaneously paying dividends, record profits, and their CEO clocked $16.5 million as a compensation for burning out of town. I don't know how that works, but it worked for him.
Well, you know what? I mean,
that's where we are.
so what you're really saying is it's nothing new because we knew, like you said, we knew all of that. But it seems like it would be harder and harder for them to keep playing dumb the way that they have been in court. And it also, to me, explains why so few people still, I mean, it's a couple thousand, I think, that have taken their deal. That may sound like a lot, but out of, 9,000 or more people, that's not...
No. Upwards of 30,000. There's not a true accurate count of how many people are displaced. There's no way to really qualify that, but we do know the number of structures, about 9,400 total structures, homes, and businesses. What I believe Edison's strategy was from a legal standpoint, of course, I'm not a lawyer, but essentially as long as they can kick the can as far down the road, you have to look at what was happening kind of underneath this and run timelines chronologically. They're paying dividends to shareholders. This is strictly about profit, not people. And so we'll get to a point where Edison will not take this to trial. The preponderance of evidence is too damning for them.
Right, so they're going to lose. So they're just slow walking it. What are they hoping, like residents die off? I mean, what is the payoff if you know you're going to lose of slow walking?
Well, I mean, there's no morality in capitalism. I mean, that's what it is. There's no ethic in capitalism, right? The key is for them to keep the meter running, for them to continue to generate profits for their shareholders and stakeholders. But what eventually will happen is I believe, based on counsel that I'm speaking with, they will settle this case before the 2-year statute of limitation.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, to me, that article, like you said, it wasn't a lot of new stuff, but the fact that now the mainstream is totally reporting the opposite, or a much more dire picture than what they are admitting to in court, not good news for them. And when you talk in your piece about the fire that destroyed Black Altadena, and we can't forget almost 20 people died in that fire. That this has got to help, I guess, for the people who are trying to make the case, or the people that are not taking the deal, because the more we know, the worse it gets for Southern California Edison.
Yeah, I just learned just last week, Dominique, that there are 11 confirmed suicides as a result of this fire, and so the trauma and the toll keeps getting more and more. Eric Rodriguez, as recently as May, a survivor who was in the rebuilding process, got 2 over his head, according to his letter that he left for his family, and he decided to unalive himself. Whether or not this impacts the litigation is yet to be seen. Edison knows their exposure. They knew that from the very beginning. I don't think it's going to move the needle one way or the other. Both sides are looking for a resolution that, if this thing does go to trial and plaintiffs prevail, that pushes out any compensation for years. And so it's a balance of how do you give people compensation. I don't want to say justice. That's theirs to decide. But I don't know that people feel any better. I think what people would much rather see is District Attorney Nathan Hochman criminally indict Southern California Edison and Edison International and charge them like they did in Butte County with, counts of manslaughter. 19 people died, Dominique. That's a homicide. That's not, we sanitize and say they died or their death, right? But what was the causation? It's a homicide. It's not murder. But at a minimum, it should be reviewed and investigated as manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter at the least, and that's what legal experts are saying.
And D.A. Hochman has not ruled that out, right? He just hasn't moved.
I asked D.A. Hochman in April of last year if the evidence came back and supported causation of Edison, and if there is shown to be negligent. Let's just cite the L.A. Times. right? If what people are reading in that 50-something page investigation by the Los Angeles County Fire Department, I don't see how this doesn't rise to the level of a criminal charge. He hasn't said one way or the other, but how long does the public allow the district attorney, who, one, said he was the hard middle and tough on crime, two, you and I both know, Dominique, black folks voted for this DA.
Well, not this black folk. I'm sorry.
No, not that.
Not this one. Well, I mean, I know,
us.
because I saw plenty of signs in my community that said, same lawn sign that said Black Lives Matter said Nathan Hochman, which I found very confusing. But yeah, and I don't, I don't know that it seems like that matters. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I mean, every DA has to run for re-election at some point. But it seems like, he's pivoted more openly sort of MAGA in his stances since being elected.
Sure. I mean, there's the potential of destabilizing the utilities. So there's that concern. But District Attorney Hochman has an election coming up. He hasn't announced that he's going to run for re-election in 28.
Of course he will.
Of course he will, right? I don't see how this isn't he loves the celebrity case. He loves a high-profile case. Charging Edison would certainly elevate his profile nationally and internationally, but I don't think he should do it because of that. He should do it because it's the right thing to do. Dominique, you or I are responsible for 19 people dying and 30-plus thousand people displaced and 9,000 structures. I don't know how we don't get charged.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, we're going to see, because to your point, he may love that elevation, any politician would, of their name during an election season. But I think also it's what it's elevated for. I don't know that he's seeking we'll see. The approval of Black Altadena. I'm just saying. I don't know if that's on the top of his list.
Black folks in Altadena voted. They vote.
Yeah,
they do have a high. Yeah.
Yeah, and as they should. The other thing is, when you're speaking about this DA, we've seen that he has decided to back down on charges against that cop who was a whistleblower. The cop that took all the video or that taped all of the racist commentary from the LAPD in the hopes that there would be disciplinary action. Racist, sexist, homophobic, ableist, and the DA had thrown a felony at this guy. Now it looks like he's backed it down to misdemeanors, and what that tells me is that when a lot of people speak out, it does move the needle, because I think everyone was outraged. It wasn't just us. Once again, it wasn't just black folks. We started to see people on the West Side going, what is happening? What message are we sending to cops if we punish them for being whistleblowers?
Yeah, well, they circled the wagons. They expect what DA Hochman did initially was protect the organism, right? It wasn't to look at the intent of what the officer did in recording it. I mean, we want officers to come forward. We want them to root out this kind of behavior, because it shows up in their enforcement when they're on the street.
I mean, we always say, where are the good cops? But then you get, this and that the young woman in Pasadena that we talked about. Another officer, Tyson Crutchfield, who was punished and eventually fired. For or pushed out. I don't know if it was fired or pushed out, but for speaking out against her own partner. So what message are we sending? And I feel like the officer got so much public support, even his name was Daniel Flores, even though Hochman's people, the DA's office, was saying, well, this guy wasn't really in it for good. He was just in it to get a paycheck. But whether he was in it for a check or for not a check, I think the message is clear. If if you got 16 felony charges against you for calling out racism and sexism in the department, that's, a problem.
That's not the culture. The culture is not reporting your colleagues. I talked with someone very familiar with labor negotiations and police unions, and I don't know how to sanitize this, Dominique, but what I'm told is that police eat their own. They are we know how brutal they can be, right, to the public. We see it. But in terms of how they turn their apparatus on each other is pretty vicious. And so it's not a surprise that anyone that speaks out and kind of goes against the system, it's not a surprise that those who participate in acts of violence and show up as violence workers promote up the ranks. This is rewardable behavior. What Officer Flores has done is completely went against the system. Some call it a blue wall of silence. I think it's just culture, and violence and this type of behavior is just accepted, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah. Well, James Farr is here. You're invited in always at 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. We do have a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580.
You can't fix what you won't face. And we face it every day. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you feeling the heat? LADWP can help you stay cool this summer and save money. Through the Cool LA program, eligible customers can receive instant rebates of up to $275 on new portable, window, and wall air conditioners. Shop the Cool LA Marketplace today and beat the heat and save. Learn more and apply at ladwp.com/cool-LA. That's ladwp.com/cool-LA.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. 10 Toes In serves as a mentorship and domestic violence prevention program. They support, educate, and empower couples during and after incarceration. They assist male returning citizens to re-enter society successfully and to help them maintain a healthy relationship with their romantic partner. They offer a mentorship support group for formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In teaches its Intimate Relationships 101 curriculum at male prisons throughout the state of California. They host sister support group meetings for women who are intimately involved with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. To access their services or make a donation, please visit them online at 10toesin.org or find them on Facebook or Instagram. They are healing lives through relationships. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
Seriously speaking, every Saturday when I hear the program about Altadena and how it may not come back, that's happening to us. This is the largest land grab since the gold rush in California. We have an EDD property, 59,000 square feet. Our elected representative determined that she should write a bill that would declare it to be surplus. So now guess what we're getting? Affordable housing. So I hope that we can start listening to one another, because there is a domino effect. If you don't care about us, guess what? We won't be here, and then you won't be here.
Not letting them get away with anything. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, I want to touch on, before we run out of time with you here, James Farr, I want to touch on an article you wrote about this deal that Governor Newsom is possibly championing here with Southern California Edison, that would, I guess he's trying to keep them solvent. Is that the logic behind it?
Well, yeah, the logic is the utility cartels are lobbying. There's no bill language yet, but what the utility cartels are looking to do is to reduce the amount of compensation that fire survivors would be able to recover. And that would be compensatory damages or perhaps like emotional distress. So they're looking to kind of go retroactively, which would significantly impact, again, the recovery for fire survivors. Why the governor would do this is yet to be seen. But I think the more important question is, why are legislators potentially going to allow this to happen? That's the greater concern. And many think it's because everyone has their own bills or pet projects. The governor has the final pen. And so what you won't see is any of the legislators speak out publicly and challenge him. You will hear them speak out against the insurance companies and the utilities. What the public needs to do is to get in contact with their legislators and let them know if this bill is afoot, the close of session is this week, that they need to stand in that gap and make sure that all ratepayers in the state of California won't be penalized when there are wildfires or fires caused by utility companies.
I don't know how that, how that can be. I don't know. It seems like, I understand we need utility companies. They do have shareholders. I'm trying to figure out why we're so desperately trying to protect them when they're making record profits. I mean, when, Pedro Pizarro got this huge bonus, they're not hurting. Why can't they pay the victims of the Eaton Fire? Why can't they pay it out? They've got plenty of money.
No, the money is already there in a rate paying that the utility payers have already paid into this account, right?
Right.
And so the money is there. What Edison is trying to do is to mitigate against, right, so that they keep the money. This is essentially, Dominique, this is already the ratepayers' money that they're returning back to them that they've collected by way of fees. We've already been legislated to pay into these wildfire recovery funds for this event. Edison is only concerned about their bottom line. It is just strictly capitalism and profit over people. They tout that they want to be. Pedro Pizarro, the CEO, says he wants to be a good neighbor and a community member. This is not how that shows up.
Yeah, but okay, so here's the thing. I'm not under Southern California Edison, but ratepayers get taxed, get fees, and there's already a cap on what the utilities are on the hook for because we, the people, already have been tasked by our own lawmakers for covering the butts of these utilities. So, but they're talking about even further restrictions now. They're talking about putting ceilings on what you can get for pain and suffering and the like, right?
Correct.
So why, if
Correct.
I guess what I'm not understanding is since there's already this cap, there's already these protections of how much they're on the hook for, why do we need more? Why is the governor or why are some lawmakers feeling like we need to protect them even more when they're clearly thriving and they're already protected?
It's the money in politics. No one wants to come up against the utility cartel's lobbying muscle, right? They have to get reelected. The other thing is you're looking at private versus public, and I know we're short on time. Private utility companies versus public utility companies. It's the private utility companies that we've been talking about for the last decade or so that are the cause of these fires. Pasadena hasn't had a fire. LA hasn't had a fire. The cities that have public utility companies, because the attention to maintaining the system is much more detailed than what the private companies are doing. It's profit.
Yeah.
They knew that pole was a loaded gun waiting to go off. They just didn't care. 52 years, Dominique, it had sat up there with this potential.
And then the fact that they didn't clear the brush around that, around that station is crazy to me. They said over 10 years or something they hadn't cleared it.
Yeah, and they receive certifications every year that the things were being handled. So it's a corrupt system all the way through with the appointments from the certification boards. All of that failed Altadena on January 7th, 2025. All of them.
Mm. Well, I'm glad that some folks are still striving for justice. I'm glad that a lot of people have not given up on getting their fair share or had been forced to cave into the utilities. Not such a great deal. And I'm thankful that you continue to report on this, James. Thanks so much for giving us an update.
Thank you, Dominic. Have a good day.
And you as well. Mindful Monday with Sahara Ali is next. After that, we open up these phone lines and talk politics, as Sahara would say. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. 5 Americans are among 7 people killed in a helicopter crash during a safari trip in Kenya. NBC aviation analyst John Cox.
The investigators are going to look at the debris field and anything they can learn from that.
Officials say the aircraft went down in a remote area north of Nairobi. A black woman accused of kidnapping 2 young sisters in Atlanta is now facing more scrutiny after authorities revealed she was previously charged in the kidnapping of a newborn in Alabama. Police say the children were found safe, and 42-year-old Lakeisha Brown now faces multiple kidnapping and child cruelty charges. And Black Florida State Representative Angie Nixon is picking up support from Senator Bernie Sanders after her upset Democratic Senate primary victory. Sanders praised Nixon's grassroots campaign while Nixon thanked the Vermont senator and said she's proud to continue fighting for working families. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Is this the title? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers have won 6 straight after sweeping Pittsburgh Sunday. 4 Dodgers pitchers combined to allow the Pirates only 2 hits and a 4-0 win. The Dodgers won their 80th game of the season. They are 1 game behind Milwaukee for the best record in Major League Baseball. The Dodgers are now 15-13 since hanging out with Trump at the White House on July 23rd. Things are beginning to look up for the Dodgers with 31 games left in the regular season. We are 16 days away from the start of the NFL regular season on Wednesday, September 9th. First time in NFL history, the league is playing its regular season opener on a Wednesday. New England is at Seattle to take on the defending Super Bowl champs. The Rams and San Francisco kick off their regular season on Friday, September 11th in Melbourne, Australia. First NFL regular season game down under. No